Support for the Leadoff on WGLT and WGLT.org comes from the Central Illinois Regional Airport, where Florida beaches are one flight away. Featuring nonstop service on Allegiant Airlines to Tampa, St. Pete, and Orlando Sanford from Bloomington. Close, convenient, CIRA. More at CIRA.com.
A weekly newspaper called the Normalite has a new owner who's optimistic about the future of local news. That's one of the things you need to know to start your day for Wednesday, August 20th. I'm Ryan Denham, and this is WGLT's The Leadoff. Now let's lead off with a series of flyers with a logo that evokes a swastika inside an American flag that's caused alarm after being found around Bloomington, with no clear answer as to who made them. WGLT's Charlie Schlenker reports.
The message says, we have the White House, Congress, the courts, and the Bloomington mayor. It talks about taking back the state and calls for a march on August 30th. The flyers claim the time of not in our town is over, and that they are claiming Illinois for real citizens. Mike Matika is a longtime leader in the Not in Our Town movement in Bloomington Normal, a group that works against hate speech and for respectful civil discourse.
First, I'm trying to figure out, is this legitimate? It's just a hoax because there's no signature on it. There's no organization identified.
If the leaflet is genuine, the Central Illinois chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union says problematic swastika or no, a march would be okay. Carol Coos is head of the chapter.
This group has a right to freedom of speech just as much as anybody.
The stance of the writing would suggest the flyers come from someone on the far right. It's also possible an instigator has spread the leaflets in an attempt to create outrage over use of a Nazi symbol and to mobilize counter-sentiment. Mike Matika says he wonders who schedules a march at 7 in the morning. And why, oh why, of all places, do you decide to march on the farmer's market?
Are they coming to protest the profusion of zucchini in central Illinois in August? It just does not make much sense.
The closing line of the flyer could even be a tip-off that someone is just being a troll. It says, let's have some fun. For the Leadoff, I'm Charlie Schlenker.
The city of Bloomington says no permit has been applied for or issued for this event, and the city is not endorsing it. Here's some other stories we're following in the WGLT newsroom. Authorities say a man was found dead inside a Bloomington home that caught fire yesterday morning. Emergency crews were called to that structure fire in the 1300 block of West Elm Street near Miller Park. The cause is under investigation. And a billboard in southwest Illinois advertising for a far-right militia has been taken down. The Proud Boys ad was removed yesterday after Clinton County residents vehemently spoke out against it the last several days. You can find more on these stories at WGLT.org. A new owner is taking over a group of weekly newspapers that includes the Normalite, with plans for growth and plenty of optimism about the future of local news. Billy McMacken bought the Normalite Newspaper Group from longtime owner Ed Pine, who's sticking around for a few weeks to help with the transition. McMacken last worked for a shrinking newspaper chain that finally went out of business just this summer. McMacken was gone by then, and he knew Pine was looking to retire if he could find the right buyer.
I texted Ed and said, are you ready to sell? Because I think I'm ready to do something different. And since August 1st, it's been crazy learning the business with Ed. And for me, it's taken me back to my roots, what I was doing in the 90s, really everything, whether it's delivering a paper to someone who got missed, to dropping off papers at the post office, to running to Gridley to drop off 25 papers at Casey's. It's what's my job duties? Everything.
You bought the Normalite Newspaper Group from Ed Pine, a local journalist and publisher who's owned it for decades. What have you learned about Ed and what makes him special?
Well, I don't think we have long enough for me to talk about Ed because he's an incredible guy. He is a gentle soul. I said he's just a kind man. I've never heard him raise his voice. He's so nice to customers. When we went around to, the first week, we went to all, actually 9 post offices because we stop in Hudson as well. They greet him like a rock star, Ed, and they love him because they all said, he's so kind. Always offering to help. He doesn't just stand there and let you unload the papers. He's sorting and moving with them. And they, a couple of them said, you're replacing a legend. And I said, I'm realizing that.
Where do you see opportunities for growth with the Normalite and its affiliated papers?
I've told Ed, we're trying to diversify a little bit, do more than just newspapers. People probably realize there's not a Normalite website. I hope to have that one day. We're going to offer other advertising options, that aren't just newspaper, targeted kind of things, SEO, things like that, really digital targeted stuff that could help businesses, looking to become more of an ad agency. We can place for multiple people in multiple papers. So trying to diversify. Ed's done a good job of being successful with these papers, but there's room to grow. I mean, there's in the circulation numbers and advertising. That's what I'll hit real hard is, Ed hasn't really gone out and knocked down doors to sell ads. It's kind of been whatever came in. We'll go out and about and try to put some things together. And we got 4,000, readers every week. When I say readers, I mean, we're delivering 4,000 newspapers a week in the mailboxes of McLean County. And I think that's pretty impressive. And the one thing that I really, really want to beef up in all of our papers is the sports coverage. Ed has written basically all the sports that's in there, and I'm hoping to find people in each town who can take photos and help out with the game write-ups, because people love their sports.
But do you still see print as really at the core of what the Normalite Group will be during your ownership of it?
I will remain true to print, and the number one reason is, our subscriber, the demographic is, is for sure it's 40 plus, and it's probably more like 50 plus would be the bulk of them. We want to be, print centric, because I think that's what our audience wants. The digital stuff will come, after that. We won't do anything that would harm us, where people won't want to get the paper anymore, but it would be an opportunity to put, photo galleries and things like that, things that don't fit in the paper.
That's Billy McMacken, the new owner of the Normalite Newspaper Group. You can read or listen to the rest of our conversation at WGLT.org. And before we let you go, the Unit 5 and District 87 school boards both meet tonight at 6:30. District 87 may hire an architect to reimagine the Bloomington High School South Gym, and Unit 5 will vote on a contract extension for the superintendent. And that's it for today. I'm Ryan Dennett. The show is produced by Cheyenne Brown. You can subscribe to the Leadoff on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.